Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a fantastic day, and without any further ado, let's jump right into it. I know it's been a very intense last week or so. The cryptocurrency market is completely all over the place. I think this is a good chance to reiterate, as I've said many times before in the past. A lot of people who get into the cryptocurrency space tend to usually get into it for fast, quick, instantaneous profits. And I think this has been a light bit of a learning experience for a lot of people who are new here and also who maybe have only been here for about a year or two. If you've been here for about 2 or 3 cycles, I'm pretty sure you know exactly what's going on. The issue happens to be that a lot of people who get into this market tend to not understand market cycles, and 2, assume that if prices drop, they tend to flee nearly instantaneously from the market. So a lot of times new people will get into the market. They see the prices at 30, 40,000. They go, okay, cool. We're expected to go up instantaneously, only on the way up. And then prices end up falling. I mean, sometimes even 2%, and people end up panicking. How do I know this? Because I did the exact same thing at the very beginning. I would look at the market and I would wake up expecting every single day to be in green, which is what a lot of people do, regardless of where your money is in any market. A lot of times people continue to panic all the time. This happened, I told you, years ago before. I watch a lot of like real estate TV shows, not a lot of like the newer, flashier ones, but I mean like UK ones and stuff from like Spain and France and Germany, like very like, I don't want to say down to earth, but they're not as like insane as all the Netflix shows where everyone has like high heels and they're showing like $38 million homes. I mean, like normal people kind of homes are being sold and stuff in these shows. And a lot of times, especially for the UK ones, they'll have people as they're being shown around and they'll see that a home is 400K and they go, I heard the market was going to collapse. The market goes up a tiny bit and they, get this FOMO kind of thing. And they go, well, someone else told me the price was going to, it's this constant fear that if things do go down by even a little bit, you've made a terrible decision. Why did I get into this market? It's the same thing with stocks. Same exact thing all the time, depending on who you ask or where you're looking. If there's a new company that's going public or has been public for a while and they're planning an acquisition or something is supposed to happen, their stock will go up like 4% as the market opens, and during the course of the day, it'll slide back down. They maybe only made 1%. Sometimes it even goes into the negative as the anticipation of the action has finally taken place, and people go, well, that was a terrible trade. Why did I put my money into it? And then you pull out and you extrapolate back and you go, oh, over the last 20-something years, Apple has done incredibly well, regardless of what the early days were like. It's the same exact thing for Bitcoin. Understand that I cannot and will not ever tell you what to do with your money. I simply just tell you to do what's best for you. The cryptocurrency market is not for everyone. That is a gigantic mistake that a lot of people make. People assume because other people are making money or other people are doing this, or you hear the news stories about how rich someone became, that this is the market for them. They're going to put their money into the market. As I've mentioned on this channel and the other channel, Money Rules, the problem is that people don't see the struggle in between. So you hear on the news that this guy just bought a Lambo. This guy bought a house in Sweden. This guy did so-and-so. Look at how rich he became from trading this meme coin. And of course it hits you when you go, why didn't I buy that coin? Why didn't I buy that thing? I could have gotten that same exact thing as well. This was also a big, anyway, the point being is that I believe, I'm not sure about many of you, it depends on your philosophy in life and what you do and what you're expecting. I personally I believe that the cryptocurrency market is not only going to recover, but that we are going to see brand new all-time highs, especially as we move into and after the halving taking place over the course of this year. A lot of other people, I mean, they lose faith very quick, and I'm not exactly sure what it is. I do just kind of always assume it's the expectation of wealth instantaneously. I watched a documentary many documentaries talking about it. Not in particular, like this wasn't the only topic, but it's more of the psychology of why a lot of people do lotto and all these other things. It's this idea that this is the chance, this is the day, it's going to happen right now. With this $1, I'm going to make $128 million. And then when you don't get disappointed. You simply keep doing it over and over again, not realizing that the odds are literally not in your favor. So with the cryptocurrency market, people throw money into the market. They expect. This is where we were getting all those numbers a couple of weeks ago. And I was like, maybe, cool, we might hit there. I could totally see us doing 100K by the end of this year. But in like 3.5 weeks, I don't know. Remember the other guy who was like, yeah, we're going to 1 million by February. And I was like, what coin and what planet exactly is that going to happen? Anyway, a lot of people have been panic selling. Once again, can't and will not tell you what to do with your money. And this is why I always advise for you to do your own research, understand market movements and why things are happening. It is clearer that we have a huge amount of manipulation within the cryptocurrency market that will not ever go away, because every market has some form of manipulation. It's just the way that things are. However, with the cryptocurrency space, it is very, 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 very easy to terrify people. And when you terrify people, you make sure that they move their money out of the market. And part of the gigantic issue is that the people who are trying to scare you within the cryptocurrency space are also the people who are trying to accumulate what you currently have. And a lot of people think of that in a very abstract way. They go, well, there's enough Bitcoin for everyone to go around. And it's like, no, you're not understanding. You're not the only person in the market. They're targeting tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of people at the exact same time, flushing them out of the market. They don't want your Satoshis. They want your entire Bitcoin cumulatively that gets sold off after every single time. So recently, Michael Saylor was in the news, and he basically similarly said something that I'm currently saying right now. It's more of everyone just take a breather, because everyone panics very, very quick. They try to trade like the big boys. They try and swish their money around. They think they can time the market, and you cannot. No one can, except for the people who have the billions of dollars. In the face of a substantial decline in Bitcoin prices, Michael Saylor, the founder and former CEO of MicroStrategy, has issued a call to the Bitcoin community on Twitter. His aim is to halt the current slide in prices and steer the community away from further selling pressures. A lot of people, especially those who got into the market a couple days before the ETFs were approved, have left the market. There's news from Santiment and what's the other one? Chainalysis. They see, remember how we always talk about like long-term and short-term holders, the people who've been holding for a while, the people who have held for less than 30 days, who tend to be very fickle when it comes to what the market is doing. And they usually always, because we have on-chain data, they always tend to buy back when prices have not only recovered, but is usually 30, 40, 50% higher than when they first got into the market. It's a huge portion of impatience, but also of fear that you have to get in right now. And if you don't get in right now, things will be absolutely terrible. But then when you do get into the market and it doesn't react the exact way that you wanted to, that we did not go to $100,000 at the end of the week when we got Bitcoin ETFs, that everything is lost, everything's completely falling apart. And I will say this. While Michael Saylor has announced before that they aim to basically hold all the Bitcoin in the world as much as they possibly can, I do appreciate him basically telling the community to be like, no, Bitcoin's also for you as well. That's a very major thing that I keep saying. A lot of people assume, and you will see, because rich people only think that it's for them at this point, normal people will miss out because they're not accumulating, while the rich people are also doing the exact same thing. Saylor took to Twitter to implore his followers and the broader Bitcoin community to resist selling their Bitcoin holdings. The recent approvals of spot Bitcoin ETFs by the US SEC has triggered increased volatility in the Bitcoin market. It's mainly coming from the whales right now. who are trying to flush people out. This is why we've seen such a very dramatic amount of movements when it comes to prices, going to 46,000 to 49,000 to 44,000 to back to 49,000, back to 41,500, and then went out to around 43,000. The fluctuations are very intense, and this is how you flush newbies out of the market. Many investors are liquidating their holdings to capitalize on the initial price surge, while others are selling to free up funds for investments in Bitcoin ETFs, which I think is also quite interesting. A lot of people are selling their actual Bitcoin for a digital representation of a fund from a company who's holding Bitcoin as opposed to holding the Bitcoin themselves. Very odd times within the financial world right now as we are grappling with the idea that Bitcoin is now legitimate and that Wall Street can officially enter into the market. There's a lot of news, if you saw the other video on the other channel, of the companies who are making sure to announce that they're not in the space. They hate the space. Bitcoin's terrible and awful and absolutely egregious. And the people are looking into their finances, and it appears, as far as I understand from having read around, it looks like Vanguard also has a substantial investment in Grayscale, who also has a Bitcoin ETF. So a lot of it's the same exact thing with JP Morgan, who also is working with BlackRock on their Bitcoin ETF as well. So there are a lot of companies, and I don't care for the term FUD, who are spreading an enormous, I'll use the word, amount of FUD to make sure that people leave the market. You have to understand the expectations for what Bitcoin is and what it is going to do and what it is currently doing. Understand the strength of one network that does three transactions per second, transferring trillions of dollars worth of value and not having any downtime. It is extremely valuable, and they know that. So yeah, everyone, as always, take a breather. Try to assess the situation a little bit more. I keep seeing a lot of people who are selling, and then they end up, I see the comments on Twitter, not necessarily on my page, but as I scroll down. Twitter has, as every other platform, when you hover over something for a while, it thinks you're interested, so it shows you other things that are similar or that has similar hashtags. And I'm getting a lot of people being like, I tried to buy back into the market, but now it's higher than where I sold. And it's like, that's the point. It's meant to get you to like feel anxious and have anxiety and feel annoyed and embarrassed about when you sold. And also for you not to get into the market. They believe that this market is for them and them alone. Yeah. Very popular news. Very popular news. I do appreciate people like him telling everyone else like to calm down, because I think a lot of times if I say it, I think we're all on the same level here. So I think my words usually don't have a lot of weight. I've noticed that in real life as well, even when I'm talking to friends and family. It just doesn't kind of enter their head until they hear someone on CNBC say it, and I'm like, okay, well, I was telling you for the last 8 years, but that's totally fine. So yeah. We'll see over the course of the next couple of weeks. It should become abundantly apparent as to where the market is going to go, what the market is going to do. A lot of people have been washed out. We saw that the same exact way during the fake news that we had from the SEC the day before the ETFs were actually announced. The movement, that green candle up and then directly after the red candle down is meant to liquidate people who have longs and shorts, get them out of the market, get anyone who is, I don't care for the term paper hands, but who is very flimsy when it comes to these things, who has a lot of anxiety when it comes to investing. You wash them out. You get them out of the market so that you yourself can accumulate a lot more. Same exact thing happens in the art market. It happens everywhere, but it's not right, but it's the world that we live in. That's the Bitcoin price drop volatility. Michael Saylor's trying to get people to not sell off their cryptocurrencies news. And yeah, let's move on. Also in popular news, this is never going to end. This will continue to happen. Former Goldman Sachs executive, his name is Raoul Pal. He's in the news like twice a week now. said in a recent statement that he predicted a significant increase in the value of Bitcoin, despite all the rapid movements up and down that we've seen quite recently within the cryptocurrency space and also within Bitcoin's price. A lot of the permabulls, I guess you can call them, have once again begun to reiterate exactly where they think prices are going. I think Cathie Wood, like 2 days ago, announced that she is foreseeing a $1.5 million Bitcoin. Novogratz has done the same. A lot of these people are now repopping up once again to basically tell people that their price analysis predictions are still nearly exactly the same as they were before. According to Raoul Pal, the cryptocurrency market is on the verge of a bull cycle that could last up to 4 years and will potentially see Bitcoin reach, he says, $1 million by 2025. That's always, time gets me so hard. Like it's really, I sit there a lot of times and I'm like, what if these things do come true? What if this time frame is actually correct? I do, how do I say it? I do foresee at some point that we are going to have this is my opinion, my viewpoint after having absorbed so much of the news. I do foresee us at some point hitting a $1 million Bitcoin, but that's what also hits me very hard. It's this really like, will it be next year? I don't think so. And I've discussed that with a lot of you already as well. I can see 200, I see 250, and I see in like very interesting circumstances a good 300K. But $1 million by next year is really intense. Like you have to have some really special chart that you're looking at to even kind of get to that basis. And the idea of the cycle that could last up to 4 years, Raoul Pal is not the first person to say this, for those of you who do not know. The idea is that a lot of analysts believe that we may be done with cycles because the institutions are here, like the former cycles that we had, the constant moving down and all this other really weird stuff. The idea being is that our cycles may not be as extreme anymore and any dips might actually be bought up by institutions. That's the idea behind it. Pal's predictions are based on a long-term chart of Bitcoin's performance since 2013, which he describes as a perfect logarithmic trend. Pal believes the business cycle will peak by the end of 2025 and suggests a target for Bitcoin that could range from $500,000 to $1 million. I would say no, it's true. It is a year and a half, if not more, away. But I think the way that time has been flying, this month is already half over. So, the way that time has been flying, I think we're going to have very strong indications by around summertime. I keep sticking with summertime. It's 2 or 3 months after the halving. We will know exactly where the market is going. And I'm still looking forward to the expectation that a lot of these people had that we're going to hit 100K by the time of the halving. I think that would of course solidify it for nearly everyone as to exactly how high the market is going to go. But yep, once again, Raoul Pal is in the news, same as every other managing director, head of something, rich person who all believe that we are going to see very high numbers this year and also next year as well. That's the Raoul Pal news. And yeah, let's move on. In extremely popular news, and I was like, okay. So for those of you who don't know, there are many different coins out there that have a coin burn. I think as far as like the top coins, Bitcoin may be the only one that doesn't have one, as far as I know. No. Well, it definitely does not have one, but I mean, anyway. The point is, XRP has one, and for some reason, this news was not only very popular but very celebrated, and I was like, sure, why not? That's a news. Data shows the cumulative amount of XRP that has been burned by the XRP blockchain has apparently crossed 12 million XRP. That is million with a M and not with a B. According to statistics from XRP Scan, a leading blockchain explorer service for the XRP ledger, Apparently, there were 12,001,657 coins burned off XRP's 100 billion max total at the time of reporting. Panos Mekros, co-founder of Anodos Finance, called attention to the development in a recent statement on Twitter, citing data from something called Burn Tracker. He informed the XRP community that the total incinerated XRP tokens have now exceeded 12 million coins. A lot of people get quite excited about any type of burn news. If their coin has been burned, if it's been sent to an address and has been destroyed, it typically means that that the valuation of the coin could go up a lot higher. 12 million comparative to 100 billion is not a lot, but that's mainly because XRP is meant to be used as an actual currency. So of course you don't want to burn all of it, because by the very end, if you only have 15 XRP left, I know you can fractionalize it, but that's not what companies and institutions actually want. So a lot of times for other coins, you will hear they burned 13 billion coins, and next week they burned 45 billion and other things like that. And because those coins have coins in the trillions, and therefore there's going to be a gigantic difference. And if I'm not mistaken, it has to do normally with the actual usage of the network. And therefore, in times of prices going lower, we will see that there's a slower burn. Remember when we had the news that Ethereum had become inflationary by 0.01% and everyone lost their bananas? That was because last year there was a period as prices were going down, not as many people were using the Ethereum blockchain. And therefore, there was less usage. Therefore, there was less coin burn. Therefore, at one point, it became inflationary again. And you might remember the headlines: "Is Ethereum done? Is the price going to zero?" So cool. Not the most fantastic news, but this was quite popular. I mean, I do not believe, as long as I've been doing this channel, I do not believe we have ever had actual XRP burn numbers news. It's usually something with the SEC. It's some kind of upgrade, update. It's their swell thing going on as central bank digital currencies. We've never had actual how many coins have been burned by the XRP blockchain news. So that's something new for us. Look at us getting new news. That's the XRP burn news. And yeah, let's move on. In news that was supposed to scare a lot of people, a lot of companies over the course of the last few years have been either going bankrupt, they don't have the funds anymore. You remember, I don't have to go over it. Since 2021, a lot has been happening with a lot of companies within the cryptocurrency space. And part of the issue is that as cryptocurrency companies, they also own cryptocurrencies. And when they're trying to recuperate funds or having to pay back creditors or debtors or people, whoever they might owe, they have to sell off that crypto. However, only scary news sells. So a lot of different websites report that a company is selling off their crypto, and it's supposed to be that you get terrified and you have no idea what's going on and you completely panic over all these things. We've had it multiple times with the money being paid back to Mt. Gox people, many of which I think have started to be paid back. But notice how it hasn't been terrifying in the news, because they've also been selling, if they have been selling, they've been selling over the counter. But it's also been for Genesis and Alameda. It's also been for FTX, which we had news about 2 weeks ago, give or take, that people from FTX were selling off, I think, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of crypto. That's when we saw Solana fall back in price. I mean, it's also garbage. And then we also saw a dip in price for 2 days when there were news that FTX was going to also be selling off a portion of their Ether as well. So here we are with another company called Celsius. Cryptocurrency lending platform Celsius, which filed for bankruptcy in 2022, recently tweeted plans to unstake some of their Ethereum holdings. In a series of tweets, Celsius stated that it would be recalling and rebalancing their assets as part of their strategic preparations regarding potential future asset distributions. Selling off stuff because they owe people money. Celsius suspended customer withdrawals in mid-2022 due to extreme market conditions and subsequently filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection as well. Celsius Network has initiated the process of recalling and rebalancing assets. The primary focus of this strategy involves the unstaking of existing Ether holdings, which have historically generated valuable staking rewards and income for the platform. In the coming days, Celsius Network anticipates significant unstaking activity. This process is strategically designed to unlock their Ether, facilitating timely distributions to creditors as well. Apparently up here it says Celsius transferred 10,000 ETH, $22.4 million to Coinbase, according to the website Look On Chain. And lucky for us, Ethereum has a multi-billion-dollar market cap. So selling $22 million into the market, into the Ether, boom, boom, will have absolutely no negative effect on its price. Even if they sold 100 million, it might go down by 1 or 2%, but you would barely even feel a thing. A lot of companies that were, either filed for bankruptcy or were completely demolished by the SEC at some point. When you remember all the news that we were getting, that a lot of these companies have to pay $25 million to the SEC. They owe the SEC this amount of money. It was always something nonsensibly large as a company that they would have to pay. They have to sell off their cryptocurrencies to be able to do so. This is why This is why a couple of weeks ago, for those of you who weren't here, there was so much confusion when we heard that Tether, the company, actually owns a gigantic amount of Bitcoin, and people were like, "What do you mean they own Bitcoin?" And I'm like, "Well, they're a company, so they can definitely buy whatever they want." And surprise, surprise, they're also buying. I had that meme in my head, like surprise, surprise. Anyway, they're also buying up cryptocurrency assets as well. I'm not sure why people get so confused when they find out that a cryptocurrency company holds other coins other than the ones that they represent or are around. It's like a year ago when Brad Garlinghouse was like, "Yeah, I like Bitcoin a lot. Like I even own some." And people were like, "Oh, you can't do that. You can only own XRP." So anyway, cool. This news was meant to scare you, as it was, I don't want to say popular, but it was relatively out there news. A lot of people were talking about it. It had a negative undertone that this company that had to file for bankruptcy, that no longer really exists, is now going to be flooding the market with their coins. The market will be just fine. That's not what brings down a market, especially not a company not as large as Celsius. It would have no actual effect on prices. It's more like hyper whale BlackRock Fidelity manipulation that would actually move the market down. But even then, the last week or so, Ethereum has been doing quite well with all the rumors and stuff going around. Yeah, I think that is definitely going to do it for this video. I do sincerely hope that you're all having a great day. I do hope you all are having a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be. I do hope it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and or supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.